Okay, then one more concept is that, okay, that is a definition of power factor I did. Okay, but I need to concentrate on the significance of the power factor. Okay, the power factor can be defined in three aspects. One with respect to the cos pi, then another with respect to the R by Z, then one more is P by S. Okay, cos pi is what? The cosine of the angle between the applied voltage and the current. That is also be called as the power factor. The cosine of the angle between voltage and current, that itself is called as a power factor. This power factor will play a very important role in case of AC circuit in order to do the electrical work which is to be done by the connected element to that of AC power supply. Okay, that is the major thing you need to remember. Then second definition, which it is that always the AC circuit is containing resistance, inductance, capacitance. Okay, whenever all these three parameters are present, okay, the current is not opposed by only the resistance, which is also be opposed by the reactance. Okay, the total opposition which it is caused by the resistance and the reactance is itself is called as what? Can anybody?
Impedance.
Thank you. That is impedance. That impedance will be represented by the Z because the AC component is having both resistance as well as the reactance. So that the power factor can also be defined in terms of resistance to that of impedance. Okay, the ratio of the resistance to the impedance is itself is called as power factor. Remember this also because in Viva they might be asked you. Then as you already know that in case of AC circuit, P is equal to V into I into cos pi. Okay, what is that V and I? RMS value of the voltage and current. Okay, then cos pi is the power factor. The power factor will be defined by the ratio of active power or the real power to that of apparent power. Okay, this is also be a definition of power factor. This is most important for the laboratory viva as well as the examination point of view. What do you mean by power factor? Then explain the importance of the power factor. Here, what is the significance? Significance and importance both are same. That you have to remember. Okay, here the importance of the power factor is that, as you know, P is equal to VI into cos pi or EI into cos pi. S is equal to what? P divided by cos pi. Okay, what happens with respect to the power factor if it is get varied? Okay, according to this relation. Okay, this is voltage, this is current, then active power and the power factor. Okay, if the power factor is get increased, okay, if the power factor is get increased, then what happens to the apparent power? Is get decreases. Okay, that you have to remember. Means if the power factor of the load is low, then whatever the amount of active power which it is get generated by the source, okay, then as well as the whatever the active power which is to be get transmitted and received by the load to be get decreases. What the power which is to be get supplied to that of connected load is itself is the apparent power. That is the combination of active power as well as the reactive power that will be get affected. Okay, because of that reason, as much as possible, you need to maintain the power factor should be high. Is this clear? Okay, what is the maximum value of the power factor? It is 1. It means that the power factor value to be maintained should be unity. Okay, for that reason, the power factor correction method will be used. Then, okay, here I is equal to P divided by V into power factor, that is the cos pi. Okay, here, with respect to this current I, if the power factor is low, what happens to current? Current will be high because of inversely proportional. Okay, then what happens? The current is inversely proportional to that of power factor. If the power factor is low, current is high. As we know, the loss or the power which it is consumed, that is I square R. If the current is more, what happens to with respect to this I square R? I square R is also be high. Okay, if the power factor is low, then transmitting of a particular power due to that of current which is to be get carried by the transmission line will be get increases. Okay, during power transmission, we are going to use the transmission lines. Okay, if the power factor is low, current will be get increases. With respect to that increase in current, losses which it is occurred by that transmission line is also be get reduces. Okay, due to that reason, if the whatever the losses are there to be get increases, because of that reason, there will be a decrease in efficiency. Okay, efficiency is generally called as output by input. That you have to remember. Okay, the ratio of output power to the input power. If the losses are more, then what happens to the efficiency? Efficiency will be lower, which will get decreases. Okay, that is also be an important concept to be considered for the significance point of view. Is this clear what I told?
Yes, sir.
Then, due to low power factor, okay, the current carried by the conductor will be high. Okay, obviously, which it is also be get increases. Because of this reason, if current is more, then size of the conductor to be used for that application is also be get increases. If the size of the conductor is get increases, what happens to this? The cost which it is incurred for the construction of the transmission line by the use of those conductor is also be get increases. That is the reason which will increases the cost of investment. Is this clear now? Okay, these 3 points you have to remember. First point is that with respect to the upfront power. Second point is that with respect to the losses. Third point which is that size of conductor. Okay, these 3 are having an effect on what? Power factor. This itself is the significance of the power factor. Okay, so that the power factor will play a very important role in case of AC power supply. So that most of the loads used, okay, by the consumer are of inductive in nature. Okay, whatever in your house you are having a loads. What is load? Anybody? What is a load? What is load? The element which it is connected in the electrical power supply, if it consumes the electrical power, then only which it is called as load. Example is lamp, fan, TV, refrigerator. Okay, whatever element you are connecting to the power supply, that itself is called as a load. Is your mobile is load?